Hey Lauren,
Hey, how are you?
the end of a long week. I'm tired, man. I've got a great bourbon in hand though.
There you go.
This is a way to finish it.
Yeah. Is that the birthday one?
No, this one's actually a gift from one of my old students back in the day. He gave this to me. And it wasn't one I liked the first time I had it, but since it's been sitting on my shelf, it kind of opened up and got really nice.
Hmm,
Yeah. So
I didn't know much about bourbon.
yeah, no, I got to the it's a Angels Envy Rye. I've got to go open up and give a try.
Yeah, I
No.
don't think any of us knew what we were doing, so I think
Dude, it's awesome.
um, Nick Earls took that one on.
He is the sweetest guy.
He's so sweet.
Yeah. I thought Lay and Margie and Rafa and all them did really well today.
They did. I can't believe Margie had a typhoon happening in out of her home. Like so different, like culturally, just be sitting working with a typhoon. I'd be like terrified. I don't know.
Dude.
Like some
Yeah,
flooding.
I would be terrified as well. But yeah, she just kind of does her own thing, I guess.
Yeah, she's just like, yeah, sorry, it's so loud. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but they were so sweet. Yeah, I was taking notes because I'm gonna turn it into a blog post. Because I was just like looking at some other blogs from real estate investors and stuff, and I just didn't really see anything on about virtual assistants. So I think it would be like a good to kind of tap into that and post it on LinkedIn. And
Yeah.
so, and then I was trying
One
to
of the things I'll say is just as you're doing it and coming up with your terminology on it, that I'd really appreciate is if you refrain from using the term like using VAs. I don't know. That's like something that really sticks out to me as a like I don't feel like you use people, but I hear people say that all the time about using VAs and using virtual assistants. And you didn't say it, to be clear. I'm just saying like as you're oh maybe.
and then
Um, but
I didn't write anything like
yeah.
that just to
So I try to use working with team members, stuff like that. It just because I feel like so many people, like I've seen how people treat virtual assistants, and I'm just like, oh my god, like I would never do that.
I was explaining that to Dean. I was talking to him about that it just seems like based on what Leia said and Ross said a couple weeks ago that you just tend to compensate. And so that was one of the parts that I was going to put in the blog post that like compensation, like if you want somebody who is loyal and protective of you, you need to
Yeah.
be a good boss to them, like that
Hmm.
part of being of having loyal teammates. So okay, I didn't write that, but I'm going to put that at the top.
Guess nobody wants to talk today.
We'll see. You had like 9 reactions to it on LinkedIn, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw my note about needing some Stay Wild content.
I did, and then I marked it unread so that I would circle back to it. I didn't have the time to respond. Oh, so what was the thought process? So you want to post more stuff on Stay Wilds?
I want to post more stuff on Stay Wild because right now that's our highest trending. We have over 100 likes on that Airbnb one that I posted.
That Diane's texting me and commenting on the things I'm saying. She can hear me from the other room. I don't know what she said, but she definitely was commenting on what we were just talking about. Hold on. That was a thoughtful comment about using VAs. I wouldn't have thought about it, but that's a really ugly way to talk about it. You're right. Oh, okay. Hey, I got one right.
Check.
Check. Got the wife's approval. Sorry, what? Oh yeah, so Stay Wild. So yeah, I'm going out there next week. Did I ever send you those? We did some first person, or like Diane did it while it's just for not one-on-one. Yeah, okay, fine. She's getting sassy with me because she hears me talking about it. Did I ever send you the first person videos we did when we were in the golf cart, the Polaris?
No, but that's what I texted you. I said, hey, do you happen to have any
Oh,
videos
let me see if I got.
when you were in there, when you were riding around with your bourbon in
I'm
hand?
like, I think we forgot. Oh, I don't know if Diane let me have a bourbon at that time. She was the one videoing. So let me see what I've got here.
Oh, Sebastian entered.
Fantastic. Glad somebody likes us. I feel like all I've done is talk to Sebastian today.
Yeah, you've seen him 3 times.
How you doing, buddy? More than that. This is my 4th time seeing Sebastian today.
Oh my
Because
goodness.
he's also in the off leash Indy membership. So
Why did you like that?
yeah. So yeah, he and I have just been hanging out all day long. But you know what?
And he went away.
Yeah, he got tired. He got a little self-conscious.
Yeah, so send this to me. That'd be awesome to post.
Well, let's see if I can find them. I think they're on here.
Okay.
If not, if I have to go back and you know, ride around and drink a little bit, that's fine.
Yeah. And twist your arm.
Yeah, if we must. All right, let's see what I've got on here. If I've got anything. What's going on, Sebastian? Aren't you
Hi.
tired of me yet?
Not yet, but I'm actually right now packing for my vacation. I'm flying tonight, so I'm just listening in the
Where are you
background.
going?
Yellowstone for a week.
Dude.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, and I'm going there with a friend, and he's currently visiting from Europe. And like, yeah, once he's never been there, I've never been there.
All right, now I'm jealous.
Yeah, I haven't been there either, but it's on our bucket list for sure.
Yeah, I've heard it's very beautiful. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Are you staying, like how close to the park are you staying?
Like about 20 minutes drive, probably.
Okay. I heard if you stay within like a 30-minute drive, it just elevates the experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought about this, like some lodges inside, but they're like so expensive. It's like $400 or $500 a night, which yeah, I didn't want to spend. Like outside, it's much cheaper.
No, it's tough to justify.
Yeah, I heard that it doesn't make much of a difference either.
Yeah.
I've also just heard
Nice.
that from people who wouldn't spend that much money either on the inside. So.
Yeah. But yeah, so sorry, I'm busy packing, so I'm switching off, but like I'm listening in the background.
Okay. Hey Eddie.
What's up, Eddie? How you doing, bud?
Good. How are you guys?
Hey, I'm good. Hey, Lauren, I totally lost those videos. I have no idea where they are.
No.
So I guess that means I got to go back out on the Polaris and first person it and drive around and drink some bourbon.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe I'll go on the tractor. I'm going this week down to the wilds since we're taking possession of the second house. So I will. I'll get some more videos.
Yeah, get some more videos. Get some videos of the second house or the Airbnb. I don't know why people liked that so much, but they did. So definitely want to amp that up on.
Stay Wilds. We got to start booking because we got a couple of vacancies coming up. So no. So Eddie, what did you think of the conversation with Lay? Did you take anything away from that conversation in particular?
Yeah, I mean, you covered some of that prior, so I was that's why I was peppering with a little more like specific questions. I think yeah, I was like curious, even like at what stage do you think a VA is like necessary? I'm also more interested in the hiring part, like how do you and maybe it's not worthy of a full session, but you know, how do you find a good VA? And yeah, it
you
was
find
good.
Lazille and then you let her hire So
Yeah.
I say it jokingly, but I half am serious. My recommendation is that you get some type of expert that knows virtual assistants. You could always go on onlinejobs.ph, but you don't necessarily know what you're looking for. You don't know necessarily what the red flags are. There's a reason you hired a coach for real estate. There's a reason you should hire some help on that front.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I did that on my first one. I paid $5,000 as a finder's fee on Lazille. Now they guaranteed her for the first year or something like, but then she became my employee.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot in that process. So, you know, the whole process around it is get referrals, get a bunch of people, have somebody else do the initial screening, because most of the applicants aren't relevant. So I have Lazille do all of my first round screens at this point. I had Sphere Rocket do it for when I hired Lazille the first time.
Yeah.
And then from there, then you are able to just kind of deal with the cream of the crop, creme de la creme or whatever. I swear I've had like 2 sips of this. I'm not drunk. I just can't speak anymore. So then you kind of let them do the initial screening for you. And then you get to ask the clarifying questions on, you know, their goals and all of that. And then I'll tell you, there's a variety of ways to compensate them. I've done base rate, and that's what I'm doing with my team today. I've done things with performance incentives and stuff. So lots of different ways of doing it to align incentives. That was what I did in 2021. At the beginning of the year, you can ask Brett this because he laughs about this all the time. I told him, hey, like my systems are breaking. I need to hire some help. I'm going to slow down. I'm not going to do as much this year. And then 2021, I did more than I'd ever done before, because I hired Lazille and I put her on a performance incentive, and she just went freaking nuts, man. And so,
That's cool.
Yeah, it totally was. But
you were scaling all by yourself, and then when things started to fall apart, that's when you decided to be
It was too late. At that point, I should have
really?
done it a year before. Yeah,
wow.
Things were breaking pretty bad. My accounting was terrible. It was so bad because I was managing what was more than a full-time job at Meta. I was probably working about 50 to 55 hours a week for Meta. And then I was also doing, you know, flips, spurs, all of that stuff. You know, doing weird creative finance. I was dealing with bad property management even back then. And for all of those reasons, I was working like 80 hours a week and just bursting at the seams. And it you know how it is. At a certain point, you're no longer getting incremental value out of those extra hours. And you're working because you're busy. And you know, it's just that death spiral that you get into. And so I should have hired her about a year before.
How many properties do you think you need before you hire a VA? Is there a kind of a rule of thumb that way?
So a virtual assistant, on average, Lazille's different. Lazille's expensive, but that's because she moved to the US. So I'm going to talk about a traditional virtual assistant. When she started with me, she started, I think it's $6 an hour. And then I put a couple of performance incentives. And that was an expensive virtual assistant. So 6 times 2,000. That means that Lazille costs about $12,000. Or when she started, she cost about $12,000 a year. I don't necessarily think you need to look at it like how many properties do you need to maintain. It's more of what is your hourly rate, and can somebody save you that many hours to justify themselves? Because you don't want to be spending all your time working. Can they buy back a little bit of your time? And so that's how I would think about it. One flip can cover that. No problem. Can cover that salary. So if she can get you one more project, if that virtual assistant or that person can buy you the time to go do one more project, they pay for themselves immediately.
I see.
And so that's how I think about it. Like I look at hiring Margie or Raf. Like, did I need Raf on the team? No. But I was like, do I think that he has the potential to bring me one more project? Yeah. All right, let's do it. Done deal.
Got it. That makes sense.
Hey Zach, how you doing, buddy? Oh, I think you're
Hey, how's it
muted.
going, everybody? Hey there.
So Zach, how did you find us?
I'm on the group on Facebook, and I just kind
Freaking
of
love it.
joined in. Yeah,
That's awesome, man. So where do you live?
I am in Monterey, California.
All right. We got two Californians here on the call as well. I'm out in Hoosierville, and we got a what do we call Kansas people? Kansian? What?
And yeah.
All right.
Weston.
All right. So what do you do, bud? What kind of investing are you into?
I've been doing some multifamily and some Airbnb stuff.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I've got 16 units in Indiana, and just trying to continue to build it up.
Nice. Where are you seeing success on the Airbnb side?
Mostly with like longer term stays for corporate traveling tenants, and they're paying an absolute premium for housing that is just turnkey. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, we've had a lot of luck with traveling nurses recently too.
Wow, cool. Yeah.
So that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, anything in particular that I can do to be helpful? Dude, it sounds like you're crushing it.
Sure, man. Yeah, so I've got a question about financing. I would like to make an offer on a property, and I want to come in with about 10% down on a 20-unit apartment. And my thought is to try to get a 10 to 15% carry. And then my 10% would come out of a HELOC on a property that I own in cash. And I'm curious about your thoughts on that approach, if it's logical, or if
Totally
I'm
logical.
having. Okay, cool.
No, totally logical. I've done way crazier deals than that. With
Oh,
regards
cool.
to, with regards to seller financing, I've had people carry 100% in different. Now, granted, very different situation. It was in single family portfolios, so very different. Getting the financing. How do you have a good lender to take care of you on a deal like that?
Yeah, I do. But he kind of made a comment where he said that since I'm trying to get my 10% out of a property that I own, it would be some sort of a portfolio spread. And he felt that it might be too complicated of a deal to take my down payment out of a property that I would refi with him at the same time, and then also ask for some sort of a seller carry back. He said it might be too much. And I felt
the local lender, or is this?
So he's an Indiana lender. Yeah.
This isn't Nathan Scott, right?
No.
All right, let me toss a name here in the chat. This is a guy you should reach out to.
Wow. Thank you. That's gold.
I love this guy. I'll be honest, I haven't done a deal with him, but he's a super creative thinker when it comes to lending. I actually have two DSCR lenders. The one I'm talking about here is the second one, Nathan Scott. You can also reach out to IUCU, but they're not the right guys for this, transparently.
Okay.
They're not that creative. Nathan Scott's the guy to talk to at Tri-County.
Okay.
He's pretty darn creative. He would love to do a loan like that. Now, talking the seller into doing the carry, that's going to be the tough part.
Right.
That's where it takes a whole lot of sales and empathy. But that's an interesting one. I like it.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Any other tips on just like how to get a seller to be comfortable doing that? I mean, what interest rates are you offering in this market?
I would just ask, hey, are you willing to match whatever I get on the from the bank?
Wow, cool.
And so
Okay.
like, let's say you go get 5.5, for instance, let's say, 5.5, 25-year AM. I'd say, hey, you willing to do on that 10, that 10% carry back, 5.5%, and on a 25-year AM, they're probably going to say no. And then say, great,
Yeah.
can you do 5.5% for 5 years?
Okay.
Interest only for 5 years, kind of thing.
Love it. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Dude, that's an interesting one. Can you circle back and let us know how that one goes?
Sure. Yeah, you bet.
Yeah, and definitely talk to Nathan. That guy, make sure you have about an hour to talk. That would be my biggest piece of recommendation. Don't make that like a 30-minute window in your calendar. That guy will talk for hours. By the way, Lauren, we should bring that guy on the Knicks Picks at some point. He's definitely a guy that can talk about financing from a more commercial side. So cool. Mila, how you doing? How's Florida?
Florida is great. I didn't expect this to be so great. Seriously, everything.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
falling in love with it. Love not having any taxes.
Yeah, and I regret why I didn't move earlier,
So
Maybe-
Zach, just so you know,
Yeah.
Mila just moved from the Bay Area out to Florida. She went through the real estate coaching program and discovered just how much she hated California through my crapping all over it for 6 months. And she ended up moving out to Florida. I was trying to get her to come out to Carmel with me, but she didn't even. She went to Florida. She was going to come to Carmel right after. She never made it to Carmel. She's just like, I'm putting my roots down.
Yeah, it's so tempting to just move out of here because it's like, I don't know, it's just so expensive. But
Yeah.
and there's other issues too, but I'm always torn. I mean, I would love to move to Indiana full time. I think that's so cool that you did that. And yeah, that's awesome that you're over in the Sunshine State now.
Thank you.
Well, I'll tell you, it changes your perspective and like what's possible. So for us, we thought an expensive house, in California was, $700,000, but that gets you a shack. Here we get, $700,000 house, and it's what I would consider a mansion. I don't know if other people would consider it a mansion, but for me, it definitely is. The Mila, I'm sure you're feeling the exact same way.
Yep.
Yeah. So quality of life's high. The winters, not great. So Mila, I think you might win that one. But yeah, definitely changes your perspective. Zach, what do you do for a living? Are you mobile? Could you move?
I am a full-time realtor, and so if I were to move, I would have to restart all of my connections, and I just don't know if I have it in me.
Fair enough.
It was a long build up in order to like have any sort of traction in the business, and so now that that's happening, it's just, I don't know if I would want to start from scratch, but I am tempted to just not have a job anymore and do full-time Airbnb and multi-family investing. I'm not really at that point yet, but that's my
Yeah.
goal. Yeah.
That's awesome. I have a dumb tactical question, and tell me to buzz off with if this is offensive. But like when you make a transaction, I'm assuming you use an agent out here when you do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you get a referral fee because you're an agent referring yourself?
Man, I totally could, but I just feel like the price points on most of the houses that I try to buy is so small that I wouldn't even want to approach anybody with that.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the houses that I've purchased are like $60,000 to like $90,000, and so commissions on that are so small. I want them to have every possible incentive to do a good job, and I don't think asking for 25% is even worth it. But I might start to do that more if I start to buy some more expensive properties. We'll see.
I'm assuming those 60 to 90 aren't the ones that you're doing the Airbnbs on.
They are.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I have
Wow.
2 houses that I bought. The first one is 65,000. I put about 10,000 into it, and then furnished it for another 12, and it rents for 3,200 a month.
Wow.
It's crazy, man.
Wow. That's pretty incredible. And are you managing the rentals yourself, or do you have a third party doing it?
Yeah. So I have a manager, and I'm paying him 15%.
Wow. Sounds like a great deal, man.
It seems like one to me too.
Get a couple more of those.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm just I'm expecting that that niche to kind of get more and more saturated, but I'm just going to continue it for now until it's no longer profitable.
Yeah, absolutely. Ride the arbitrage as long as you possibly can. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, cool. How about you, Mila? What's going on in your world? I cut you off there introducing you.
Yeah, well, thank you. So catching up with everything, getting acclimated, and yeah, started expanding my network, meeting with agents, to continue the journey.
That's
And
awesome.
if no one has a question, I do have a question that I posted in
Of
the
course.
journal about one of the gorgeous projects that Off Leash Investment did. So I had a question, how did you
Yeah.
fit that in the budget of 17K? The one that you published about, that was in 28
Gladstone.
Gladstone Avenue, yes. So do you have pictures before and after? Like, we saw after, it looks gorgeous, but how it looked?
It was a pretty light rehab. It was a pretty light rehab overall. So there were two ways that we made that really really make sense from a dollars and cents perspective. The first is it was light. Number two is we actually had our internal crews do it. So this isn't something we're offering externally yet because well, the liability associated with it. But Paul has a couple of crews since he is a general contractor. Zach, just so you're aware, I have a project manager that works for me. That he also is a GC, and well, he has a couple of crews that work underneath him. And since I pay him a salary, essentially just a weekly stipend, he is willing to GC projects for me at cost. And so
Nice.
he GCs a couple of them for me. And so that's one that I basically just had to pay for the materials at cost and the labor at cost. And we were able to get that for $17,000. That probably would have been about a $25,000 to $30,000 scope of work from anybody else. But since we were doing enough volume that we were able to bring that one in-house, we were able to do that. We've got a couple of those that we're doing right now. We had one that I told Paul that once we sell this one, I'm going to kiss him on the mouth. I'm so happy about this one because our initial bid from an external contractor was about 80. And it was going to be a big project. It's going to be beautiful. And he just goes, "Are you okay if I test this with one of my crews?" I just go, "Sure. Like, yeah, I trust you. Go do it." It looks like we're going to come in about $38,000 on that one. Materials. And so, yeah, I mean, we're going to make about 40 grand worth of incremental profit on that one, just from having that one internally. So pretty darn happy with how that turned out. But we're not doing that necessarily externally when we project manage for other people. And the thought is we'd rather some other contractor carry the liability and us just project manage for them. Like, we'll carry the liability for our own stuff, but not for somebody else's. So yeah, huge advantages. And that should give you an idea of just how much profit a lot of these contractors are actually making on a lot of these projects. Yeah, it's absolutely astounding what you're able to accomplish if you are able to remove the contractor overhead, essentially. Yeah, that was a crazy one. And what we've actually started doing, Mila, just to expand on that point, we've started buying materials in bulk. So flooring, that's an easy one. You can buy $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 worth of flooring, and you're able to really lower that per unit cost. And we've actually started on our construction side offering that as an option to people. Like, hey, do you want to just like buy it from us and get a discount on it because we're buying in such bulk? The other thing we've started buying in bulk recently is cabinets. So cabinets for like the kitchen and all that, we're buying in bulk. Also slabs of granite. For the longest time, almost all of our nicer rentals, but not like our high end rentals. So like, you kind of think about A class, A class, you got to go to the 9s. B class, you don't necessarily need to go quite as nice. And so we were doing butcher block countertops. What we started doing, we actually just bought 10 slabs of granite. Each slab probably serves about 2 kitchens in most situations. And so now we're going to start putting granite in even B class. So if somebody walks into one of our B class rentals, they're going to see awesome granite countertops. We're going to do vanity. And one of the things, Sebastian asked me this question earlier today, how do you identify like a really nice flip versus just kind of meh? And one of the things that I really like to call out is when the vanities match the kitchen countertop. You don't tend to see it all that much except for higher end places. And so what we'll have the ability to do, since we have our own granite and we're going to have it fabricated, but we have the actual slabs, is we're going to be able to go get vanities that don't have the top. We toss our own sink and top on there and it looks freaking amazing. It's just those kind of little things that, because we're buying in volume, we're able to lower our costs substantially. And it probably doesn't raise the price of that house at all. It probably doesn't raise the rent, but it's that kind of thing that gets it snapped up a lot faster, especially in today's market where things are sitting a little bit. Having a couple of those little wow factor type of things makes a difference. And I think that's an opportunity. So that's how we were able to get it so cheap, is we bought things in bulk and we bought our labor in bulk. She just disappeared on me. I scared her off.
Nick, do you mind if I ask Zach how he kept like 10K on your 60K deal for an Airbnb, Zach? That seems amazing. Like, how did you do that? Hope you don't mind. if I ask, Nick.
No, yeah, sure. So the 10,000, I mean, it's a small house. It's a 900 square foot house, 2 bedrooms plus an office. And I really didn't do a ton of work. I did flooring, which was just carpeting. And then I re-finished the hardwood floors. I did paint on the inside and outside. I did a couple of items in the home inspection. I did, I don't really like to do new cabinetry. I just like to paint and then do new hardware. And then I put in Formica countertops that look super nice, new sink, new faucet, and then new bathroom fixtures. And it was just around $10,000. I have a guy who I've worked with on about 6 other projects. And so, sorry. Yeah, I mean, he's pretty reasonable compared to everybody else that I've spoken with in the same area. So yeah, that's it.
Thanks for sharing.
Sure, of course.
Awesome. What else, guys? We got a full house. We got Bing in the house. We got Ed. I'm assuming that's Bing.
Yes. Hi.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah, things over at work doing all right. I know it's probably been an eventful couple days.
Yeah, right. So there are some layoffs in my company. Glad I'm survived, but yeah, some coworkers left. That's another motivation on learning how to invest, how to do the investment.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Bing, you're still at Meta?
Snapchat.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't even know Meta had layoffs.
No,
like,
Meta
yeah.
didn't. Yeah.
I was like, oh, I better check my email.
Oh, that would have been unfortunate. But yeah, how things going from a real estate perspective? Have you done been moving the needle much on that front?
Not too much. I was pretty exhausted at work recently.
I get that. I totally get that. What other
But
questions do you guys have? Oh, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, but I will not give up. I will keep learning, and I will like eventually start. I won't
Yeah,
disappoint you.
absolutely. We know you've been making offers.
Yes.
You've made a couple offers, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you'll get there. You can't you can't get the house without making the offers, but the funnel I always talk about is you make 30 offers to get 10 under contract, or pardon me, you analyze 30 to get to find 10 that makes sense, to get 3 under contract, to get that one that actually comes across. So you'll get there. You'll start making those making those offers that actually make sense. And in today's market, things are starting to move a little bit. People are willing to negotiate with you.
Do you observe noticeable like market cool down?
I've noticed things slow down a decent amount. Yeah. Things are definitely slowing down a little bit. People are willing to negotiate. I'll tell you, we've got a couple of flips on the market right now that if we would have hit them 6 months ago, would have sold in a day and a half. Now they're sitting there. They're probably going to take a month to sell. We're going to have to find the right buyer. There aren't just like thousands of buyers sitting there ready to buy. Now, a healthy market has about 6 to 8 weeks worth of inventory. So I don't really worry about it until we start seeing a significant amount of inventory out there. But right now, there's been a shock to the system when it comes to the affordability. And so, yeah, I definitely have seen a little bit of a slowdown, unfortunately. But I'll tell you what my thesis is, and I don't bet based on appreciation. I'm thinking before the 2024 election, miraculously, the Fed is going to start lowering interest rates, and housing affordability is gonna become a little bit better. And I think we all kind of can extrapolate what the reasoning behind that might be. Hey Ben, how you doing, bud?
Hey, I'm doing good. I just wanted to hear what's happening in the market. So,
Oh, dude,
Ben
you
Ragor.
tell me, man.
man,
Do you know Ben?
Yes, I think that you introduced us.
Oh, did I?
Zach and
Yeah.
I go back a long ways, not as far back as you and me, Nick. But
Too funny. All right, that's awesome. That's awesome. I do so many introductions. I'm terrible about that. I never remember who I've actually connected. For anybody who doesn't know, Ben is my tax accountant / friend / bookkeeper / is there anything else?
Mine too, by the way.
Nice.
that about covers it probably.
All right.
Good
perfect.
dude.
This isn't about me.
Yeah,
you guys
all
can
around
talk
good
real
dude.
estate.
All right. Well, what questions do I have? Yeah.
I want to know I want to know more about Ed's 2 under contract in one weekend, and how that's going, and where we're going with all that.
I can give an update on that. Let's see.
Yeah, I would love to hear that.
Bringing that up right now. Okay. So one in Noblesville, it was basically listed at 200K. When I don't know what I would change about it, but another property sold for 300K, like pretty much the similar condition. So I got that for 240. I have it under contract. And I'll
Awesome.
show you.
I love Noblesville too. I'm actually picking up. We're in the middle of a flip down in two flips down in Noblesville, and I think I'm holding on to both of them. I just think there's so much potential up in that area. Like just such a great area, so much development, different class of tenant.
All right. So this is a property here. This is the house looks like.
It's very blue.
Very blue. There are colors that we'd like to change. Right. So we did the inspection report on this property, and
Is that 17? Hang tight. Is that 1,700 square feet accurate, or is that is there unfinished included in there?
there's no basement to this house.
Okay.
1,700.
Fantastic. Okay.
And yeah, the inspection report basically didn't show very much wrong with it. There was a plumbing issue in the toilets that we're trying to investigate. When you flush, like there'll be bubbles coming up in the tank. And that might be like a venting issue. Inspector said it could either be the venting up through the roof is not properly letting air in, or it could be some problem with the sewer. Most likely it's the venting, not the sewer, but that's just it doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal, but that's probably the biggest issue that we have.
Is this the one with the dirty air conditioner?
Yes.
Yeah, you know, it's a great inspection report when the inspector's calling out the dirty air conditioner.
Yeah. So this was the comparable, which sold for 300K, very much same kind of house.
It's a little, oh man, I wouldn't even, there's some parts of it that are more modern than others, but overall, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So it doesn't seem like there's that much different. So I've priced here new kitchen, bathrooms, and indoor paint, as well as some unexpected costs. So that comes out to be 32K for rehab. I think I could probably get up to 300. In this case, I priced at 315. If it's nicer than the that comparable, it sold for 300. So about 35K in forced equity. One thing I discovered were 300K houses is that it's harder to make a flip, because even though I have 35K in forced equity, that the commissions will take a big chunk. So if I look at the flip, it only would be about like 11K in profit for a flip because it's a 300K house. So I think my plan for this,
solid deal.
I think my plan for this is just a long-term hold. And so a decent like 90% ROI year one, and then followed by about 20% ROI.
Ed, I just want to point out that you said a decent 90% return on your money.
Yeah,
Decent.
yeah, that's right. Because I have other deals that are better now. So I'm no longer thinking about 90% as great.
Spoiled Ed.
Well, no, and I think we all understand that there's a certain amount of work that goes into it, and that's why he's saying decent, is because that's not a true representation of the value of his time as well. That whole, again, I always circle back to this, but ROI versus ROTI.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. That's a good one. And are you willing to talk about I know you've got the Carmel flip going on, and then I'm sorry, where's the other one? That one's in
Westfield?
Hamilton County still. West. Yeah.
I didn't talk about that one. And this one was a different case. It was like, it was priced 275K. And we have it under contract for 255. There was a death in the family, so they want to like sell off the asset. Let's see. Right, so this is a property here. It's a lot more dated in the inside. I think it was 1960s or 1970s house.
Wait, hold on.
Yes.
I need to go back to that bathroom. Go back one more. Oh, that's the one with the seat. Okay. I thought
So
that was a
it's- yeah.
step up into a shower.
Yeah,
I got confused there for a second. Sorry.
yeah, we've done this in a previous office hours before. Right.
Yeah.
So that's a property. We found one thing that was major, and that is that the roof, it's supposed to have ceiling joists and rafters. Usually they're parallel, right? And that's what then supports the roof. In this case, they're perpendicular. My inspector is really good. Whenever he sees a property that he sees a big issue, he gives me a call up right away. And he gave me a call up and he said, well, I've never seen a roof like this before. And furthermore, it seems to be sinking. It's like sinking 1.5 to 2 inches. So he was really concerned about this. He was so concerned that he said, you should get a structural engineer out there. So I got a structural engineer out there. And Still waiting on the report from structural engineer, but seems like it might not be too big of a deal. There are 4 places that need reinforcement, and it'll be reasonable for us to do it. So that's one issue. The second issue is that they painted the inside of the attic all white. We're worried about that because that might be a sign that they're hiding potential issues there. Or it might just be they did a mold remediation. But why they decide to paint the entire attic white with some mold remediation, we're not sure. It seems like a little bit excessive. I talked to my insurance agent, and he was able to find that they had a big water damage claim back in 2021, November 2021. So I've since learned that they did have like water intrusion. They say it's not as long before November 2021. I'm not sure. Not sure when it was. We're trying to get more details. But water basically went into the master bedroom, and they had to do a bunch of work to repair the wall and repair the flooring in there. We don't see evidence of that in the inspection, so hopefully they just did a good job with that. But I really want to understand who did the work. That's a professional company, and that then I'll have some confidence in that they did a good job. So this one is a smaller rehab, about 19,000. We have a new kitchen, new flooring, kitchen appliances, indoor paint and landscaping. And we see this is smaller, it's like about 20K force equity. And so this one, not as good. It's a 50% ROI followed by 20.
Measly 51% ROI.
So
no, and these are solid deals, guys. What I think both of these point out a little bit is that the way you get that forced appreciation, that higher forced appreciation, is you have to take on larger rehabs. You know, these are $25,000 to $35,000 rehabs, and so expecting to get, you know, $100,000 worth of equity by investing $25,000 to $35,000 isn't reasonable. But getting, you know, $55,000 worth of incremental equity based on spending 25 to 35 is totally within the realm of possible. It's when you start taking on the big stuff that you're able to get significantly more than that. But Ed's targeting here a couple of different things. One, he wants about taking on some of these rehab projects before he goes and takes on big monsters. But then two, he's in a position that recycling his capital immediately isn't the most important thing in the world right now. And finding a good, incredible return for his capital would be the most important thing. Is that a fair?
That's right.
So like a lot of people can't do that approach because they need their capital back right away. That would help. I'll be honest. When I started out, that was the position I was in. So it's a little bit different, and I think these are fantastic deals in A-class neighborhoods. I would live in any of the neighborhoods that Ed's looking to invest in. He's going to have incredible clients that are ready and willing to live there.
Yeah, and it's also like I'm willing to take something that's less return if it's in a good area, and I think that's more a bet on future appreciation than like present day cash flow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And are you willing to talk a little bit about, I think it might be interesting for everybody. You've been talking to a lot of property managers recently, and how a property like these might interact with a property manager, even somebody who has more of a fixed fee, such as like a city place, as opposed to one of these percentage guys.
Yeah. So I wrote up a note about this because I talked to several. City Place has a flat $50 fee, which is insanely low. If we were to calculate the effective fee for all of the services they provide, including markup, let me bring that up. All right. So I have basically marked out, if you have a 2K rent generic property, comparing a couple of property managers. So City Place, which I just talked about, has a $50 fee. It's just a flat fee. It's not even a percentage of the rent. But they have lease up fee. Maintenance markups can be anywhere from like 10% to 30%. I just took the higher end just to be safe. Renewal fees, late fee split, so on. Right? For a 2K rent property, it's about 8%. That's pretty good because other places are generally about 10% in Indy, and you only get the 8% if you had volume, like greater than 20 properties. If we take a look at this other property manager, this more traditional cost structure has 10% gross rent fee, and then has maintenance markup just the same. I took the high end of like 30% there, and so on. They are like more like a 15% effective rate, much higher. But if we think a little bit about the incentives, someone like a Just Live Indy is probably more interested in raising the rents than someone like City Place Indy. Is they're charging a flat 50. They don't care how much your rent is, right? So when I talk to the property manager that has incentive to work on the rents, they are willing to walk the property for me, help me understand what the rehab would be needed to achieve a particular rent. Any questions on that?
Generally agree with everything you're saying. Depends what you're looking for in a property manager, which direction you go. If you're just looking for a payment processor, then City Place is for sure the right direction. If you're looking for somebody to be your boots on the ground, somebody who cares about your property the way you do, $50 a month on a $300,000 property isn't the right approach. It's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing those.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off now.
No, you're good. You're good.
Ed, there was like a third column. Did you evaluate another PM company too?
Well,
Or was it just a
that third
comparison
one
column?
there is my PM in Silicon Valley. They're actually very good. If you have any property in like Peninsula area, their rate structure is much cheaper actually than any of the indies. They are a 6% gross rent fee. And they have lease up and lease renewal. They don't have maintenance markup. The effective rate I have for them is like 8.5%. Like not at scale volume, but they're really good. And they've been the perfect partner for properties here.
Did you look at any other property managers in Indy by any chance beyond that?
Well, I had previously been talking to the Indy Phoenix, which closed. And then I also been talking with Matlock Property Management. Yeah.
Awesome, guys. What else? What else is going on? Any other questions? Mila, you always have questions. Come on.
Yes, I do, but I'm too shy to ask.
Come on, this is all your cohort members and plus Ben. Do you have any tax questions you need answered? Like, I don't know. Actually, he's not getting paid for this. Don't ask tax questions.
General question about 401k, it's kind of, it doesn't bring me desired return. And I know that some people using this 401k for their real estate journey, it's not only for reserve, but for something else, right? But I forgot.
Yeah.
How it
Yeah, so there are a couple things. let me think about, let me talk about how I think about 401ks. Ben, I'm gonna, like, if you're there listening, maybe chime in if you're willing. But from my perspective, a 401k is a fantastic tool to sock away money in a tax advantaged way. I only, once I started investing in real estate, only contributed to my 401k up to my match amount, because I felt like I could do better outside of the 401k than I could inside. But getting, if they match your 401k up to 5% or whatever that number is, it's hard to beat 100% return on your money, no matter what Ed says about his 90% return being okay. I think 100% return on your money year one risk free is pretty darn good. So that's how I approached it, is I put it up to the match. There's some things you can do to invest in real estate with your 401k. One is to take a loan against it. Totally something that you're able to do. You're essentially paying interest to yourself now. You're not accumulating stuff in the market when that happens, but you can essentially borrow it and pay yourself back. Really good approach to do that. The other way, and I'm less familiar with this, but it is something that is an option, is a checkbook 401k. I don't know, or checkbook IRA, if you've moved on from your company and transition it to an IRA. I don't have experience with this. I heard rumors that it might not be legal moving forward. It's not super tax advantaged. It's going to be really tough for you to get any kind of leverage in your 401k. So, use your 401k as a 25% down payment and get the other 75%. It's going to be tough because you can't have it be a recourse loan. Otherwise, that breaks that separation there. And I'm sure there's a better way of describing it. I didn't come into the conversation prepped with all the right terminology. So there's that. The final way that a lot of people actually use the 401k, if they think they can do better, is to take the penalties and take it out. I'm not generally an advocate of that, but it is something a lot of people do if they think they have a better investment vehicle moving forward, such as some long-term hold. Anyone have any thoughts there, or am I speaking out of turn on any of that?
That was pretty good, Nick. I just completed earlier this summer like a 400-page book just all about the self-directed checkbook control IRA and solo 401k. Some of my thoughts have been, yeah, so you weren't way off base on any of that stuff, Nick, so good points. I just talked with a client today about, he said he had 100k in a Roth IRA, and I was thinking, like, I just don't really want it in stocks anymore. I like the idea of using it for rental and stuff. There are these things called prohibited transaction rules. Okay, prohibited people, prohibited things you can do, like you can't flip real estate with a self-directed retirement account because that's an active business income activity, but buy and hold rental real estate, that's okay. Investing as a limited partner in a big limited partnership kind of syndicate deal, that's okay. But like going and like managing your own properties and doing renovation or value add rentals where you're on site swinging the hammer, that's disallowed. And so it's just easy to mess things up and lose a lot of flexibility when it comes to owning rental real estate in a retirement account. That from my clients from over the years, it seems like the only ones who really do that are ones who are like, hey, I've got $1 million in a self-directed IRA. I just want to diversify some of the funds. So I'm going to put 400 of it in real estate that I own. And I still have a lot of money that's pretty liquid and available to cover any emergencies that come up. But some of the goofy stuff is like, if there's an emergency that comes up for a rental and your IRA doesn't have the funds needed to cover that emergency, it's a prohibited transaction for you to personally write the check to replace the roof or deal with the issue. And that can mess the whole thing up. And then the IRS can say, oh, it's an illegal transaction, you got to pay penalties and just a bunch of messy stuff. So for the most part, I'm usually recommending that unless you just have way too much money in there and you're looking for something to do with a portion of it and you want to own a rental, I would say consider doing just kind of hard money lending to other people with a self-directed IRA or self-directed solo 401k. Just kind of lending money to people and getting interest is an option, or investing as a limited partner in a partnership could be a good option, but keep it pretty passive for the most part. That's probably the rule of thumb, I would say, in 90+% of the scenarios I've come across so far.
Thank
So
you.
Mila, what were you thinking about with your 401k? If you don't mind us asking.
So for now, I'll just hold it, I guess, as a reserve. But I'd like to learn more about how people, using this money, maybe 401k loan for rehab, maybe an option.
Yeah. Totally is. And your finances are going to get more complicated here as time goes on. Here's my totally shameless plug. Like, Ben is absolutely incredible. He's a fantastic tax attorney or tax accountant, pardon me. And I mean, although he's still pending my 2022, I'm sure he's saving me a lot of money, or 2021, pardon me. But I highly recommend talking to him. He's able to sit down with you on a regular basis and do strategy calls with whatever your position is to help you make sure that you're making the optimal decision. Whether or not you work with Ben or not, you should probably talk to a real estate attorney attorney. I can't get that out of my head. Real estate accountant for your particular goals, just to make sure that you're covering yourself and are doing things in the most tax advantaged way possible. I'll tell you, Ben has cost me tens of thousands of dollars over the last several years, but he has saved me hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it's one of those things that it's an investment that has some incredible returns. Has better than that 90% return that Ed was balking at earlier.
We're all thinking about this 90%, all of us. Wouldn't be able to sleep tonight.
Yeah, man, I just don't think you can do that deal at 90%. I think you got to get it to at least triple digits. Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense. Maybe we got to figure out how to short-term rental it, figure out some way to bust it over that number. Because I'm just, to Mila's point, I'm not gonna be able to sleep at night knowing that you only made 90% on that one.
Yeah, well, Bo just let me know that I lost on one where it would have been like maybe 170% ROI. I just lost it.
That means you didn't offer enough.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, I love it, man. All right, guys, I'm gonna go start to enjoy my weekend. Diane is already giving me dirty eyes for going a couple minutes over, but appreciate all you guys. Have a great weekend, and I will talk to you all next week. Okay.
Labor Day. Bye.
Bye, guys. Bye.